Hi guys, welcome to Classic Rock and Country Music Facts and Trivia. Appreciate you being here. Once again, we're on rock and roll. It's on Mr. Paul Stanley of Kiss, and how he said he's never a big fan of tapping tricks or whammy bars on guitars, although there was a few greats that did it. I'm going to tell you what he was into, and this is pretty cool stuff. I mean, he's no dummy by no means, and he's a really good guitar player in his own right. A lot of people don't know that. Let's take a look. For 50 years, Paul Stanley has stood beside some of the more idiosyncratic lead guitarists in classic rock world. But it's Stanley's immense rhythm chops that laid the bedrock for Kiss's sound and have empowered everything they've done since. Always wanted the band to have a sound that I've often referred to as one big guitar, Stanley told Guitar World. In other words, it would be two guitar players who together would make a singular sound through different yet congruent voicings. I saw bands like The Who and Humble Pie, and they inspired me. They were guitar-propelled bands and were forces to be reckoned with, but it was the rhythm guitar that, when done properly, wasn't a knock on somebody who wasn't a lead guitarist, but the work of a person comfortable with the idea of working to be proficient at the specific skill. Stanley's viewpoint on guitar isn't only logical, but downright illuminating. It's no secret that guitar is a competitive space, which often more about keeping up with the guitarist beside you rather than doing what you're best at. But Stanley, ever workmanlike, never saw it that way. With some lead players, what's missing is mentality of being proficient, he says. If you ask them to take over rhythm, they just can't do it. It's like they learned to run before they could walk, he laughs. Pragmatic as he is, that's not to say that when given the chance, Stanley doesn't enjoy taking a solo. I love when the opportunity comes up to play a solo, he admits, but I never wanted the responsibility of having to do it all the time. It's too much. I'd rather lead the orchestra and let the other guy do the tap dance. Be it Ace Frehley, Vinnie Vincent, Mark St. John, Bruce Kulick, or Tommy Thayer. Kiss has had their fair share of legends on guitar over the decades. Their influence is undeniable, but in recent years, support has grown for Stanley's equally impactful exploits. And Stanley, a man who's owned the grandest stages with class, confidence, and swagger, knows this. Using all his influence of Kiss and guitar-driven music, Stanley says, it's no way demeaning to any lead player, but it's hard to tap dance if you don't have music. But I've always hoped to elevate and bring attention to the importance of the rhythm guitarist. But it's interesting, he continues. I've had some well-known guitarists at my house, and inevitably we'd start playing, and I remember a couple of them on a different occasion saying, hey, wow, you can really play. They were surprised, which maybe made sense early in Kiss's career, because back then it was easy to be dazzled about what we do live and having my ability be overshadowed. But at this point, you'd have to be short-sighted and perhaps more than a little hard of hearing not to get what's going on. So if you don't get it, then you've probably never seen Kiss. Even with Kiss winding down, Stanley says that his overall approach hasn't changed all too much over the years. My viewpoint hasn't changed too much, he says. I still believe in plugging a good guitar into a good amp. I've never been a fan of tapping, tricks, or whammy bars. And sure, there have been a few greats like Edward Van Halen and Randy Rhoads who did. But what they did come from somewhere. And there are a whole bunch of people who are clueless about where they came from, which is why you need depth. You've got to have foundation outside of what you're doing. He concludes, I remember being on the corner of 8th Street in New York City in the 70s, and a young Stanley Jordan was on the corner, busking for money. We'd all go out and see this guy because, man, he was the real deal. But people don't always see that viewpoint, meaning they don't go beyond Eddie and Randy to see where things come from. To me, if you love playing guitar, don't just emulate who you love. Find out who they love, and then listen to that. It's not always a matter of what you play, but what you know. And I just terrific guitarist, he really is. And when I was younger, I always thought, wow, Ace Frehley, you know, and Ace is a good guitar player. He's a good lead player. I mean, as far as being a star and being a legend, mediocre at best, in my opinion. Paul Paul is just the unsung hero in the band because he's the workhorse. He's the guy. He's creative. He is the creative. And if you listen to a lot of the music, you may not know that he does bass in a lot of the music on the albums and stuff as well. I mean, he's very talented and a very, very, very smart man. Anyway, and of course, people look at rockers like, not true. Not true at all. Read some stuff up on some of these rockers, man. They're no dummies by any sense of the word. Well, most of the classic rockers, let's put it that way. Anyway, that's all I have for you. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Please don't forget about classic TV, facts, and trivia. It's on All in the Family, Archie Bunker. Please go over there and check it out. Please subscribe. Please subscribe here. Please don't forget to like this video. And share it out with your family and friends who might love Kiss like me. Have a great day. God bless you. And as always, I'll be praying for you.